Welcome to Business TV Magazine. I'm here with Roy Strauss from Strauss Consulting Group. Roy, tell us a little bit about your business.
We are supply chain experts. Supply chain being the life cycle of a product from the original sourcing of raw materials for manufactured product or purchasing product for redistribution until delivery at the final customer's doorstep and everything that happens in between.
Wow, and you've been in business for over 28 years, is that correct?
We're completing our 28th year next month.
Wow, congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you.
So why don't you give us an example of how you've helped customers?
Okay, well, the key skill sets in supply chain are understanding, planning and managing and executing growth, understanding inventory, what products should I be stocking and selling and how much of them. Must be experts in space, because as companies grow, they have to expand space. You don't want too much space. You don't want too little space. You don't want to be in the wrong space. We're also experts in software and technology, and the way the world keeps changing. If you're not keeping up with your competition, that alone can cause you to have great competitive difficulty. And of course, we do complete planning of distribution and manufacturing centers, as well as implementing the changes. And what's really important is that supply chain was ignored for a long time, but our value proposition to the companies we work with is that we will improve your profitability and competitive edge by improving your customer service while reducing your costs.
Wow. So typically, how much do you save a customer?
Our customers have been everything from startups and small family-owned businesses to large companies such as Fuji, Sony distributor, Medco, so forth and so on. And so savings, first of all, is usually a percentage, because the absolute numbers of one versus another could be drastic. But it's also not only how much we save them, but intangibles, such as improving their customer service and competitive edge, which you can't exactly match to dollars and put a dollar value. But if you could leapfrog your competition, I will be talking about planning growth, because you're always in a planning mode. No matter what happens, you know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and what it's going to cost you. Most companies are behind the eight ball there, and you'll be ahead of your competition, and that's lots of money in your pocket, and you can't measure it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Give us an example of your typical customer.
A client is either a distribution or manufacturing company. Very often they're calling us because they've run out of space. They can't get their orders out on time, or they can't get the product manufactured in time. They've fallen behind in terms of technology. They've outgrown the current building, and they have to do the whole study. How much space do I need? Where should it be? And what type of building? And of course, many of the skill sets we have, once we're working with the client, evolve into what we'll call Management 101, where we'll find difficulties within the company, either getting us data or having the skill sets internally to work with us, and even getting the right people internally as a project manager, let's say. So we do a lot of just general management consulting as well. And at this stage of my life, I'm really temporary executive manager for the skill sets you wish not to keep on staff permanently.
Oh, okay, very good. So is it any type of manufacturing and distribution? Is it specific?
Over the years, like I said, we've done many size companies, and also at this point in time, almost every industry. We've done cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, food, hardware, airlines, wholesale florist, mail order baseball cards, steel pipe distribution. The longer you stay in business, the more types of businesses you get a chance to work with.
And it's not just in New Jersey. You can go in any nationwide, right?
I've done work nationwide, Canada, so forth. Recently, I had a proposal in Thailand and a proposal in Iceland, but they actually chose to hire someone who was a little bit closer. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get the next one.
Absolutely. So give us some tips about supply chain.
Well, actually, what I'd like to focus on in this particular session is growth, okay? Because improper growth planning not only affects supply chain related companies, but all companies. And again, in the 28 years we've been doing this, we get called in so often when the problem has occurred and they're reacting to the problem. And once you're reacting to the problem, you're already disappointing your customers, your costs are going up, your service levels are going down, and in numerous instances, we made the difference for companies being able to stay in business. So for instance, if I call in a company and we talk about growth, and again, this could be a supply chain company, it could be any company at all, okay? You'll usually get a linear number for growth. We're gonna grow 10% a year for the next 5 years, okay? And that's typically a sales projection that's coming either out of the marketing department. For a smaller company, the two brothers had dinner last night. For a large company, it may be a UNIVAC computer or whatever, okay? And there are several problems with that, okay? What most companies are lacking is an operational growth plan to ensure the marketing growth plan is going to succeed. So for instance, early on in my career, I had the good fortune to work for a company that grew tenfold in 10 years. We went from an $8 to an $80 million company in sales. And in that hyper growth, if you couldn't stay ahead of the curve and always be in a planning mode, we would have failed, because when you're growing that fast, you just lose the business, okay? So what my company and what I'm preaching is the following, okay? When marketing comes forth with their growth plan, operations should first of all say, well, what about contingencies? What if we grow 20%? What if we grow 30%? Because if we plan on 10% and we redo an operation, and that's a 5-year growth plan, and I hit 30% 2 years in a row, in 2 years I've done, and we have to redo it over again, what I was planning to do in 5, okay? So what we do is we'll run scenarios under different growth models, okay? So, for instance, let's say a company is shipping 100,000 orders a year, and they're going to grow 10% a year over 5 years, as they say they will. Well, that means I have to ship 160,000 orders a year 5 years from now. So what processes do I need that are different for 160,000 and 100,000? In how much space it will cost, with what staffing it will cost, with what equipment it will cost, and with what IT and technological support. So for instance, when we work with a company, we're going to test different models and create scenarios. So if they tell me 10%, we'll test at 15, we'll test at 5, because we have to find a comfort level as to what the company's actually comfortable doing, okay? So if the company says we're going to grow 10% a year, and they find out they have to invest $500,000 to do that, they may scale the growth down, because at that aggressive growth, that means you're doomed to failure. At the same time, if they really believe in the growth, then they may decide to borrow money or change their financial structure, because they have to support those numbers as they grow as fast as they plan to, okay? So, for instance, again, when I work with clients, I don't leave a stone unturned, okay? I want to know ripple effects. Well, what if we grow this fast and the office falls apart? Because they don't have the staff to support it. So we're testing scenarios with different growth models. So I did work for a very large pharmaceutical company, and they had 2 different growth percentages that they were planning, and they had to put up a new building because they totally outgrew the old building years ago, again, reacting to the problem instead of planning effectively. And they could build buildings at different heights, which would affect the size of the building. So if they had a very tall building and small growth, the building was small. But if they had a short building with high growth, the building was actually twice the size. So we tested different growth percentages at different building heights, and after they sat and did nothing for 2 years, within a month we know exactly what size building to build. And it's just one part of everything we do, okay? So what we want, and the most important thing also is to have key data. I'll start working with the company and I'll ask for key metrics that are needed to manage the company, and they say, well, we don't have the data, can we do the project without it? And my response is, well, with what I've been doing all these years and asking you the right questions, we can do the project without it, but the result won't be as good. But even more important, the metrics we develop to do the project, that's what you're going to be using to run the company continuously so you can run it at a higher level you've ever done before. Okay, so what we want to happen is that, let's say the company is going to grow 10% a year over 30 years. It doesn't have to be linear. I could average 10%, but grow 20, 25, 5, and 0. So at 40% after 2 years, am I out of business again? Or do we hit a recession, 0, 0, 0, 20, and 30, and I'm out of business before I get there? So I must be prepared for whatever is going to happen. So we create exception reporting systems that let management know as soon as anything is veering in either direction. They now have this planning tool so they can react right away. And again, with the plan we give them, they'll know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and what it's going to cost them in the realms that are important: process, space, staff, equipment, and technology. So let's say, for instance, at the 30% growth level, it's time to switch to some automation because I can't hit the speed anymore for those higher numbers, and I need new software to support it. Well, with the planning system we put in, when we hit the 20% growth level, that'll spur us to start the acquisition process for software, for equipment. So when we hit the 30%, we just keep on growing seamlessly and continuously. Almost every company we visit, they've hit the number, they're reacting to the problem, they're disappointing their customers, they're running out of space in their facility, and the clogged space is even dropping service levels even more. And it's like, the better you do in planning and executing it, the more profitable you're going to be. It gets compounded in the other direction when you do it improperly.
So basically, you want to make sure that you're proactive instead of reactive.
Yes.
Strauss Consulting Group provides a complete assessment and analysis.
Absolutely.
And you don't know what you don't know. So you have to be aware and make sure that you are doing assessments like this to make sure that you have a good growth plan.
Well, I did a project for a company in the Midwest, and I was there for a total of about 5 hours, and the president of the company says to me, "How long are you here for?" I said, 2 days. And he says, "Well, we have a very complicated operation, and I have people that are working with me for 6 months and haven't figured it out." And my response was, "Well, I'm doing this going on 20 years right now, and I've done the different industries, the different size businesses. Let's do a leap of faith and see what happens, okay?" So after my 2 days, I went back, wrote up my report, wrote up my assessment, I wrote up my recommendations, and he called me and said, "You understand my business better than most of the people that work for me." And again, this is 2 days. And, you know, ours is not easy, okay? We visit a company. We have about an hour or two in a sales call to learn about the issues and the problems and what they're trying to accomplish. We have to figure out chemistry, personality, what they would be happy with and whatnot. And we come back with a proposal, and we review the proposal in a half hour to an hour. And if we don't nail it in that time, there's no project, okay?
Right.
And many companies in our realm are gone after 5 or 10 years, and we've been doing it 28 years. We have been nailing it.
So for organizations that are out there and are growing and expanding and need a growth plan, give us 5 questions that they should start to think about to know that they need a service like yours.
Okay. Again, what we're running into is what's happening to your service levels. Are you keeping up with the demand that your customers need and want? And even more important, if you are now, how soon will you fail to take care of their needs? Number 2, are you as profitable as you can be? Okay, and again, if I'm in a planning mode, I am optimally profitable, and I have a competitive edge over all my competition that is not in a planning mode but a reactive mode. Third of all, space is key, okay? And one of the things I haven't spoken much about is inventory, okay? And inventory is a problem for almost every single company I visit. Okay, I'm told our plan is to keep 2 months worth of sales, import companies 3 months. They may have a month's worth coming in from China or Thailand, so forth and so on. And what I'm finding is that the real inventory is nothing like that. They have last year's model. They have obsolete products. They have the product that was hot last year that's not selling anymore. The inventory model is we're going to keep 2 months worth of inventory, but purchasing sees an opportunity for a quantity discount to buy more, to drop the trucking costs. It's a show special. And slowly but surely, the building is flooded with product that should not be there. And many of the companies we talk to, well, we're a complete wholesaler. We have to have every product for every person. Well, you can do that, but you can be more profitable doing it the correct way, okay? What we'll do is we'll do a study and find out what the best customers are buying and make sure they have all the product the best customers want. But if you have a product that sells one a year for the customer that gives you one order a year, that's not being a complete wholesaler. That's shooting yourself in the foot. And most companies don't understand it. And most companies don't have the capability to do the studies necessary to understand what they have to do it the right way and become profitable. So we're also experts in what products should you be carrying, at what inventory levels, and how to maintain them. And again, with the same exception reporting systems, if your inventory is starting to go too high, again, management should know right away. It's not purchasing is doing it, and nobody knows what's going on until you have too much. So the same principles we use for growth, the key metrics, we're using them all over the company.
Great. So how can we reach you, Roy?
Okay, again, we're the Strauss Consulting Group. We're in Oakland, New Jersey. The phone number is 201-337-7108. Our website is www.scg, as in Strauss Consulting Group, SCG4U, the number 4 and the letter U.
So, Roy, what last tips do you have for us today?
Okay, I've been talking about companies that have problems that must be solved related to growth, related to inventory. There are so many companies out there that are doing a good job that could be doing a great job, okay? And we encounter many companies where, we're offering a free consultation. Sit down with us. We want you to understand what the skill sets are, how we can help you. It's not to sell you, it's to let you understand that something is out there that you may not be aware of that can really help your company. So often companies, well, we're doing a pretty good job. We don't have to talk to you, okay? Well, we've gone into more companies that are doing a pretty good job and have them doing a great job, because if you don't have the combination of the skill sets internally at the executive level, and it comes down from the top, as soon as you're missing any part of the whole package, your bottom line is going to drop off. It's not going to, you're not going to have optimal profitability.
So make sure you take advantage of Roy's free consultation. Roy, tell us a little bit about your blog.
Okay, our blog group is called Supply Chain Experts. It's supplychainexperts.ning.com. That's NING.com. And we're 6 members, and if you just Google Supply Chain Experts, we've been coming up on page 1 just after the paid sites, and you'll see all our writings, all our insights. First of all, you learn a lot about supply chain, but just as important, some of the things I've been talking about that could be for any building, any company. Growth, space, just as important if you're in an office, okay. Well, I'm growing. How much space do I need? With what staff? With what equipment? Do I need more computers, etc.? With what technology? Do I change my software as I grow? So even though we work in a supply chain context, we've started to work with other companies now that don't have products in the growth planning. They don't need inventory services, but they certainly need growth planning.
Make sure to check out supplychainexperts.ning.com. That's supplychainexperts.ning.com for the most recent articles by Strauss Consulting Group. Make sure to be proactive and not reactive, and take Roy up on his suggestion. Get a free consultation today.